Hey guys, in today's mini lecture, we're going to go over how to write the pattern for the electron configuration. Now, it's just a pattern, so there's not a lot of high-level learning going on in writing a pattern. It's just a matter of knowing how to look and what to look for. Before we do this, I want to tell you a quick little story. Like when you first started, probably about 3, 4, 5, something like that, learning the alphabet. Most of us learned the little alphabet song. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y. Right, y'all know it. So most of us learned the alphabet by learning that little song. Well, that was a pattern. That song was a repetition, and then you did it over and over and over. But just because you knew the alphabet, could you read and write? Of course not. But could you ever learn to read and write and never know the alphabet? Probably not. Well, that's kind of like what's going on right now. We're going to learn a pattern for the electron configuration. That's all we're going to do is just the pattern. I'm not going to tell you like what's going to be used for, how to, we're in today's class focusing just on the pattern. So we've already discussed the periodic table, and we said that on our periodic table there are 7 periods. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to number from 1 to 7. So I numbered from 1 to 7, and with each one of those, that represents a period. So this would be like the period that has hydrogen, and then lithium, and then potassium or sodium and potassium, etc. So what I want to do now is I want to go back in and I want to write down each one of our orbitals. The S orbital is the orbital that has the least amount of energy, so everyone gets an S. So I'm going to write a cursive S. Now I always get somebody who says, why did you write that cursive? Well, when I write my S's, it's hard to tell if I'm writing an S or a 5. So I do it like this just for the simple fact that you can tell that's not a 0, and if you can't make out cursive letters, that's a cursive S. So now I'm going to go to the next one, which is a P orbital. It has the next least amount of energy. So I'm going to come over 1 and down 1, and then that's where I'll write my P. Now, each one is going to get a P after that. Now, I want y'all to notice that the distance from my 1 to my S, from my 2 to the S to the P, I'm trying to keep everything nice and lined up. And what I'll do is when I do that, it makes it so much easier to see the pattern. So, talk less, write more, Mr. Vance. So, I'm going to come over, down. The next orbital is a D orbital. Over and down, an F orbital. So what I'm going to do is you can see how that looks like a sideways Christmas tree. Now that's going to be the beginnings of my pattern. I just have to simply go through, number from 1 to 7, S's with everybody, over 1, down 1, P's, over 1, down 1, D, over 1, down 1, F. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here, and I always start at the top. Remember I told you it's a pattern. So I'm going to draw a line through one letter, and then I'm going to draw a line through one letter. Then I'm going to draw a line through 2 letters, and the next line, 2 letters. Then 3 letters, 3 letters. So let's go back and let's look. So I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to draw a line at a diagonal, and I'm going to put an arrow on the end of it. So that's 1. Now, did you notice how I went through 1 letter, the S, 1 letter, the S. Now I'm going to go through 2 letters, P and the S, P and the S. Now I'm going to go through 3 letters, D, P, S, D, P, S. And then finally, or not finally, but we got 4 letters, and then we got that final little one. That's the finally. So now I've got everything set up so I can write down the order that all of my orbitals will go in based upon least energy to the most energy. So I'm going to go back up here to the top where it says start. I'm going to follow this line down, and it goes through this S that's on the first line. So I'm going to write 1S. Then I come back up to the top. I'm going to start right here. I'm going to follow this one down. It goes through the S, but this time it's on the 2. So I go 2S. I come back up to the top. Now you have to kind of be careful and always start up at the top and work your way back to the lower left. So now we're going to go P, and it's on the 2. So I'll write down 2P. Then 3S, 3S. Then I come back around, come back up. I've got 3P. I'm just going to come down like this, just simply because you would run out of the camera on that side. So it goes 3P and then 4S. Then come back up here and I got 3D, 4P, 5S. We come back here. That is a 4D, 5P, 6S. Come back up here. We've got 4F. Put one more there. 5D, 6P, 7S. And finally, the last one right here, which is the 5F. Now, in the notes, I went ahead and I put a P right here, and I put a D right here, so that you can draw this all the way through. But guys, really and truly, those are the higher level elements that we really are only talking about man-made elements, so I don't even worry about them. Don't even worry about them. All right, so with that being said, I just drew out the pattern for the electron configuration. So what I would like to do next is I would like to give you your next assignment. What you're going to do, and I'm going to erase this, on a clean sheet of paper, you're going to go through and you're going to write out the pattern. And again, I'm going to go all the way through it this time without explaining every little detail. Okay? So the first thing I do when I'm writing the pattern is I number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I'm going to give energy or orbitals from the least, so everybody gets an S. Then I come over 1, down 1. The next orbital is a P. Over 1, down 1. The next orbital is a D. And the last orbital is an F. Then I'm going to come back up here. Always start at the top. Draw your line through one letter, 2 letters, 2 letters, 3 letters, 3 letters. Do you notice I'm always coming back up here and drawing my lines back this way? If you just go back and forth, you'll end up making a mistake on it somewhere. So I got to this point. Now all I have to do is write them out. So it goes through the 1S, the 2S, the 2P, the 3S, the 3P, the 4S, the 3D, the 4P, 5S, 4D, 5P, 6S, back up here, 4F, 5B, 6P, 7S, and finally the 5F. And that brings us to the end of our pattern. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through, you're going to, first of all, take a piece of paper and you're going to divide the piece of paper into 3 sections. And I'll have this thirds. And then you're going to draw the pattern. And then you're going to list it all the way out, just like we did on the board. So as you finish that, go back in. Well, actually, before you ever did that, you're going to be able to do, I hope that I messed up. I hope that this has helped you, and it'll help you whenever you go to write this. All right. Thank you.